Next, Dr. Ellis, please, for 5 minutes.
Oh, thanks very much, Chair, and thanks, Dr. Patel, for being here. I guess one of the things that I would to object to and find difficult is, when you talk about treating diabetics as a physician, you're talking about treating one patient. What we're talking about here is how did a population respond to some measures put in place by this coalition government, which has then allowed more and more people to access those short-acting narcotics, which you find so objectionable, and I believe you should. So maybe you could comment a bit on that, because our job here is not to look after one patient at a time, as yours is. Our job is to try to help an entire country, which is in a terrible crisis.
I take objection to the fact that I only look after one patient. It's true, I look after one patient at a time, but there's a cohort of patients that I manage collectively at Inner City Health. It's not just one patient, and all of their well-being is actually important to me. And therefore, the treatment approach that I use is really not that different from the infrastructure of diabetes. There's a community of patients who have diabetes. They have home care, they have foot care, they have regular clinic visits. There's an entire infrastructure we have collectively put in place, society, put in place to help manage them, because we view that as an important problem. I think we should take the same approach to substance drug use, because it is not a single patient issue. It's not a single entity. It's not an acute problem. It's a chronic problem.
Through you, Chair, and thanks for that, Dr. Pell. Certainly from this side, that's not something that we're arguing, because realistically, if all we're going to do is give people the substance they're seeking, we're talking about palliative care, because there's no other treatment for you as someone who uses drugs. Over here, what we would suggest is people do need comprehensive care. Absolutely they do. Housing, withdrawal management, all of those things. But we're talking also about supporting them while they're doing it. And I guess the question is why would we use the so-called safer supply method when we know we have other alternatives like Suboxone? Why, I guess, how could you argue against that? That's my question. I don't know if you are arguing against it. That's my question. Are you arguing against using that?
No. So in fact, I do use Suboxone for some of the patients that I actually look after downtown, but that's a patient autonomy issue, right? A lot of people don't want to be on Suboxone because they don't actually necessarily want to stop their entire drug use. I don't want to stop taking a single malt shot of whiskey on a Saturday night, but I want to be able to use it responsibly. So as long as they have capacity and they turn down Suboxone, I can't enforce that treatment on them. I understand the value of Suboxone because there are some patients who actually take it and do well on it. So if the goal is to get them completely off any opioid, whatever substance they're using, and the patient actually wants to do that, then I agree with you. We should look at other alternatives than safe supply. But often, the only way to get the patients to trust us and us as an infrastructure of people at the front lines looking after patients is to start them off on Dilaudid, to get them into the fold, to get them to trust us, because you have to remember, and again, as a physician, you know that building trust is crucial. And a lot of these patients who end up on the street, have substance use disorders, have gone through horrible life journeys where the people they wanted to trust let them down. And so for us to develop that trust takes time. I wish I could start everybody on Suboxone and see how they do. But the reality is I can't because of the individual situation.
I guess the only other argument, Dr. Patel, is really related to the fact that you and I both know that the opioid crisis was largely fueled by OxyContin prescribed by physicians. And I guess what I would suggest to you, and just for the record, he nodded in the affirmative to that statement. My question would be, is how could we then suggest that flooding the market with more and more opioids for people to use at their will is going to be a benefit? To me, that's counterintuitive. It really becomes nonsensical to say, we got into this problem, which we agree on, based on the fact that there was an oversupply of readily available, high-potent, short or long-acting opioids, and now we're going to get out of it by giving people more and more opioids. That seems counterintuitive to me. I agree with you that we need to create spaces where we have relationships with people and things like that, but just saying, here, take whatever you want. you know, that really doesn't seem to be sensible to me.
So I would disagree with the statement you're making, take whatever you want. That's actually not the case. That's a gross oversimplification. I think you know that. The reason for safer supply is to try and build trust while keeping the patient alive. If they're dead, who cares? Why use Suboxone? Why worry about dillies? They're dead. The problem's gone. But we're human. We try not to kill people if we can actually avoid it through a variety of different societal policies. This is no different than that policy. The goal of safer supply, I'll say it again, is to keep people alive so that we can actually get them the help they actually need. There's no other way around it. If we take away safer supply, people will die. You're going to have a bigger problem on your hands.
Thank you.
And that's the issue.
Thank you,